you can have an intellectual understanding of a problem and not have a spiritual understanding of a problem. And because of
So
that,
I want y'all to go back and watch her full video because I think she made some really good points when it comes to soul alchemy and how to heal trauma. However, I think she missed the mark a little bit when it came to how consciousness works, because consciousness is not linear, it works in a spiral. So I just want to add a piece to what she's already saying just to make it a full concept. Now, she watched a live or interaction between Deontay and Justin, and I guess they were talking about family trauma. I didn't actually see that live. What she's saying in her video is that a lot of people will go through their life trying not to be their parents and end up doing the same things or repeating the same patterns of their parents because they have an intellectual understanding of an issue, but they actually don't have a spiritual understanding. So what she's suggesting that you do is humanize your parents and start seeing them as a person and figuring out where it is that they learn these behaviors and what is the root cause of why they behave the way that they do, so that you can elevate above it. And while I think that is really important when it comes to healing the issue, because we live in polarity consciousness, and polarity consciousness is what tells us that we are separate from other people, which causes us to judge and criticize and not see the other person as someone who is also going through a human experience. And this specifically affects our parents because we are told that they're supposed to be our providers and protectors. And when we don't get that or they don't meet our expectations, it could be really, really hard for us to see them as somebody who is navigating life like we're navigating life. And I see this a lot in my spiritual mentorship. But high heart consciousness is what you need to reach, which is connected to your thymus, what you need to reach in order for you to have compassion and forgiveness and understanding for that other person as a person who is on a journey as well. And that is what actually helps you to alchemize your trauma, because you're looking at things from a bird's eye view and you're not looking at it so one-sided. You're not looking at things from the lens of a victim. You're looking at things from the lens of somebody who has survived something. Now, that is the only way for you to actually heal from the trauma. So the first step is getting through the barrier of the mind, right? You need to change your mindset, which is where compassion and empathy and understanding and figuring out why your parents behave the way that they behave comes in. However, that's still you intellectualizing the situation because you're trying to use logic and you're trying to use rationale and you're trying to strategically figure out what steps you need to take based on the steps that they took. Knowing isn't enough, because in order for you to heal it, you got to feel it. So there also has to be you sitting in visualization and you going back and you meeting your younger self and you telling yourself what you needed to hear in those moments so you can actually release the trauma, which is how you get your body involved, because your body works off of feeling, it works off of emotion. You need to release the trauma. Otherwise, as you navigate life strategically, because now you understand what your parents did wrong and etc., you're still going to magnetize that thing to you because you're still moving out of fear that you don't want to be that person. But once you get past the barrier of the mind and you get out of defense, right, and you start to see your parents as a human, then you can drop into feeling it to heal it. Then you need to come back to the mind, and now you need to focus on what you actually would like to experience instead, because the universe is always going to grant you abundance, but it's only going to grant you abundance based off of what it is that you focus on. If you're still focusing on all the things that you shouldn't be doing so that you don't end up like your parents, you're just going to attract an abundance of that. Instead of focusing on what you actually want to experience instead, then you can attract an abundance of the opposite. So to say, I don't want to be like my parents is not enough. You have to say, what needs of mine went unmet? How can I meet them right now? And how can I continue to focus my attention in that direction so that I'm not moving from a state of fear and I'm actually able to experience joy and happiness and excitement, and also trust myself to make the appropriate decisions to where I don't end up in the same situation that they ended up in. It's about divine union. It's about you marrying the masculine, which is the mind, 10% of who you are, with the feminine, which is your soul, which is 90% of who you are. So your thoughts and your emotions have to align in order for you to take the appropriate action. Otherwise, the action is not going to get you the result that you want because it's not rooted in wisdom. Understanding does not come from intellectualizing a situation. Understanding comes from you dropping into your emotional energy. Knowledge comes through your physical senses. But in order to understand the knowledge, you have to apply your feelings. How do you feel about what it is that you're receiving, you're perceiving, you're seeing, you're hearing? And then you take the appropriate action based off of how you feel. But if the underlying feeling is still fear, because you don't want to be like your parents, you are going to repel the thing that you actually want. You have to be clear about what you want to experience instead. You have to be clear about what needs of yours went unmet. Then you need to meet them yourself. That's how you take the appropriate action. That's how you apply the wisdom. Humanizing your parents and having compassion for your parents and understanding why they behave the way they behaved helps you to heal. It helps you to release. But figuring out what needs of yours went unmet and meeting them yourself is how you attract. It is how you stop repeating the pattern. I hope this helps somebody.